No, I just turned the camera on. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Hopefully y'all can hear me well. At first I was going to just turn on the water and start cleaning my makeup brushes, but then I decided I'm just gonna talk because trying to do two things at once is going to annoy me because I won't say everything that I want to say. I am at a point in my life where there are multiple things competing for my mental attention. And I do my best to try to close some of the tabs, but I know just like many of you, it's hard to close down some tabs because all tabs are not equal. They each weigh a ton in a sense. So let me explain. You have home life, you have work life, you have child life, you have spiritual life, you have, your marital life. Not to put it last as if it's the last thing, but just in general, you have these different tabs open, and each of them have a core issue along with the spine of that issue that travel down into, other little mini tabs that may be open. And until you close them, guess what? They're lingering, they're open. And we always wonder why we have brain fog and we can't remember something, or we feel like, and we always wonder why we feel like we can't remember something. It's because we do have so many things floating up in our head and trying to remember these things. And I'm sorry, but there is just, for me, I don't know about for you, but for me, I've tried to write things down. I've tried to put things inside of a note system. But the thing about it is, that's another tab that I have to open up to remember to go to in order to find that information. Some way I have to organize that in order to go back to it. And now that is another thing that I have to make efficient enough for me to get back to. And I'm finding that everything that I have to do has to be efficient enough for me to get back to it because that's just how my brain works. Things have to be in an order, it has to be efficient. So, which you'll hear that word a lot. So, I think the best thing for me right now is this, which is, I think is going to be good for you too. One is recognize the successes that have been taking place because they do ease some of the natural pain points that you gravitate to. Case in point, our AC has been out since June the 5th. That has been a pain point for us. Naturally, that's what I'm gravitating to the most because it's warm in Texas. However, there have been a lot of other successes that have come within that time frame that I decided, let me not focus on this because it's warm. It is. But we still have, as I said that, I'm still thinking about my mind went traveling down that spine. Remember I told you that tab is open when traveling down the spine of other things with that. But I deflect. But I still went back to, there are several other things that, the devil may be trying to take me away from to focus on the positive things. So I say all of that to say this. Whenever you find yourself detouring too much to one side, teetering just a little bit too much, in order to balance yourself, this is when you pick up the notebook. That is when it's handy so that you can jot down your notes and actually, yeah, that's when you jot down your notes so that you can actually see the fruits of your labor, like see what you have accomplished. Because I think writing down accomplishments are more beneficial than writing down a very long task list that may or may not get done. And I'm not saying that I don't do task lists. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is trying to remember where I put all these tasks. I have like 3 different notebooks, and it's just not the most efficient thing, okay? And it's yet another tab that I have to keep open. Now, um, another thing, I do YouTube, you know that because I'm here. So down this tab, this spine, one thing that I had been concerned with and that had been bogging my that a tab, let's say it like this. With YouTube, I do YouTube, you guys know that. A tab that had been open in YouTube was for me to complete a backlog of videos. It had been bothering me the same way that my AC had been bothering me. Of course, this only affects me because no one else in the family is tied to this the way that I am. So, moving forward, last night, or should I say this morning, I pulled 24 hours. I was up on Friday morning at 5:40 and went to bed on Saturday morning at 5:40 because I had finally finished editing and posting, because it's not about just finishing the edits and it's not about just completing, one task. No, I finally finished posting, editing, uploading my backlog. So I'm going to clap for myself for a moment because that's huge for me. And it was such a weight off my shoulder that today I realized, oh my gosh, I need to do short form content for the coming up week. And so I got happy. I was immediately happy and elated and celebrating my win. I started to clean up around the house and just move around a little bit more freely. And I was happy only to realize, oh my God, I have to make more content. Then I started contemplating life and my decision to do YouTube. Is this really what I wanted to do? Is this content style what I really want to do? Which this content style may be changing here in the near future because I gravitate naturally to a different style of content, and I may be bringing that content to the tube a little sooner than not. But yeah, so that's one of my wins that I wanted to talk about. And one other win I wanted to talk about was my my mental ability to stay in the game. You never know how strong you really are until you are put into certain situations. And I say that to say this. I wrote something down. I had a dream back in April, and I wrote something down. And this week tested everything I had in me. Because there were times where I could feel the stress in my body, and I didn't allow it to come out of me in a way in which I probably would have previously, meaning through verbal or through expressiveness. I just allowed myself to kind of let it manifest within me and just through prayer. And I'm proud of myself because that's another win for me and it shows some growth, right? So I'm telling you that, take every win that you have and write it down because it's important. Every win, every win. I don't think we as women enough celebrate our wins. That's the reason I'm doing this video, is because I don't think we celebrate us enough, even the small wins, even that. And that's why I'm putting it in this context, because there's nothing major about what I'm saying. I didn't win an Emmy award or anything like that, but these are things that affected my nervous system. They affected my everyday living. And these are things that, and you may have things that affect your everyday living. And I want you to be able to celebrate the wins so that, you can effectively live, but that word again, live, navigate, and move, right? So I say that because on April 15th, I had a dream like Martin Luther King, right? And I wrote it down. Now, my dreams I do write down because for some reason I come back to them. And today was the day that I went back to that dream. And I read it and it was just clear as day when I wrote that down. I wrote down today, and God spoke to me in that dream. It was like, I'll protect you from the things that you cannot see. Full circle, full circle moment. Because this week was one of the most trying weeks that I've ever had, and it has been God covering us all. And when I say trying weeks, I mean trying all of my family. So take your wins and write them down and celebrate them, no matter how small you celebrate them. I had cookies. I like cookies. Lemon cookies to be exact. Lemon Oreos to be exact. I'm going to have some after this because I'm celebrating my wins. Okay. Yeah, that's all. I don't want to make this too long. It's probably already too long. And y'all comment below. And if you're not on this channel, make sure you check out my other channel. I will link them down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.